The first round of the Australian Open is a wrap, and I don't think this tournament eased into anything. It exploded. We saw injuries derail matches, veterans remind everyone they're still dangerous, young players take advantage of the moment, and shot making that defies physics. There's a lot to go over. So let's talk about what actually happened in round 1, what it tells us about the field, and why the second round is already shaping up to be brutal. Before we even get into big names and draw paths, we need to talk about the tone of this tournament, because the first round had everything. We've somehow entered the era of nasal strips. Maria Sakkari hit what might already be the return winner of the year, and it's only January. We had Kaboli going out in straight sets in an upset no one really saw coming. Marta Kostyuk exited in the first round after rolling her ankle, in a match that somehow turned into a triple tie-break shootout. Felix Auger-Aliassime, the 7th seed, exited the tournament in round 1 in a walkover to Nuno Borges. Despite the injury, Borges is a tough competitor and has quietly had very good success at the Aussie Open. Sebastian Korda's struggles continued, this time to young gun Michael Zen, a college player who literally can't even collect his prize money, which somehow feels illegal. Venus Williams exited in the first round after being given a wildcard. This might be controversial, but those wildcard spots can be life-changing for young players. First round prize money is not insignificant, and it can generally fund a young player's season. Corentin Moutet looked like he was cruising, aggravated an injury, but the Aussie school cake couldn't capitalise. And then Moutet capped it off with an underarm serve on match point, which drove the Aussie crowd into a frenzy. Cameron Norrie bageled Bonzi in the first set, and then somehow found himself in a 5th set anyway. Bonzi, a guy who beat Medvedev twice at slams last year, couldn't get over the line against the Brit. And then there were the veterans. Marin Cilic turned back time. He took the first 13 games of his match against Altmaier, 13 straight, at age 37. Altmaier had lost a crazy 25 games in a row dating back to Adelaide, where he dropped 12 straight games to Munar. This is the same guy who took out Tsitsipas at the US Open not that long ago. Wild scenes. You win some, you lose some. So yeah, round 1 didn't stroll in quietly. It came out swinging. Once you strip away the chaos, some patterns start to emerge. Jannik Sinner didn't play around. Hugo Gaston brought all the tricks, and it didn't matter. Sinner completely decimated him. Novak Djokovic, at age 38, looked frighteningly comfortable. No lead-up tournaments, straight set win, and he lodged his 100th Australian Open victory. Andrei Rublev cruised past Arnaldi in under 2 hours and delivered a very Rublev post-match interview.
Yeah, chill. He brings to relax.
Casper Ruud did the job in 3, but his tournament comes with an unusual caveat. His partner is expecting a child, and he's already said he'll leave if necessary, so someone could genuinely get a free pass later in this draw. Taylor Fritz bounced back from a flat United Cup and handled his business cleanly. And the home crowd hero Alex de Minaur benefited from Berrettini's withdrawal, but still had to show up, and show up he did. A straight sets win over Mackenzie McDonald, and he faced just 1 break point the entire match. A huge sign for a player whose serve can sometimes be a liability. Hubert Hurkacz also made light work of his first round match, cruising through with an impressive serving display. When that first serve is landing, it becomes one of the most uncomfortable matchups in the draw. And then there's the next wave. This tournament is making it very clear that the young guns aren't here for experience anymore. But João Fonseca looked every bit out of sorts in the first round, and the hype couldn't carry him through this one. Dealing with obvious injury concerns, the match was shaky from the start. The timing never really clicked, and the errors kept creeping in. A first round exit here is a massive upset, and a reminder of how unforgiving Grand Slam tennis can be. Mensik drew one of the toughest first round opponents in Pablo Carreño Busta, a player who's been far from his peak for some time, but when his level lifts, it lifts quickly. Mensik felt the full brunt of that, going down 2 sets to 1, but he fought back, steadied himself, and narrowly escaped into the second round. That's a serious test passed early. And Le Natien continues his love affair with 5-set matches in Melbourne. Love him or hate him, the kid has one hell of a motor. Garone completely imploded in the 5th set, and Team took full advantage. Overall, a shaky start from the young guns. One of the more interesting first round matchups was the lefty showdown between Ben Shelton and Hugo Humbert. Humbert came in off a strong run in Adelaide and loves fast courts, but he simply couldn't get past the big serving from Shelton. Shelton's draw only gets more interesting from here. Then there were matches that were just about hanging on. Musetti had one of the tougher first round opponents in Collignon. He dropped the first set, then caught fire in the second set tiebreak, and Collignon called it quits. Zverev dropped the first set to the big serving Gabriel Diallo, then went into lockdown mode and cruised to the second round. And then there was Alexei Popyrin, 40 aces, 60 unforced errors. A 5-set loss at home where he had every opportunity to close it out. Muller showed grit, heart, and won the first 5-set match of his career in hostile territory. But the veterans were showing the way. And they weren't just surviving, they were thriving. Cilic winning the way he did wasn't an accident. This is a former US Open champion, and if the body holds up, he's still dangerous. Monfils bowed out in the first round, but even in defeat, he reminded everyone why the fans love him. Emotion, flair, crowd engagement. He made sure it was memorable. Wawrinka also started his Australian Open with a first-round win. After dropping the first set, he rallied with heavy hitting, then conducted the crowd at the end, reminding everyone why fans love him. Meanwhile, some results quietly told us this draw might be far more dangerous than it looks. Sebastian Baez's match against Giovanni and Pesci Pericard deserves attention. Baez was tested late, but he held his nerve. After momentum swings and heavy pressure, he was able to close it out in the fifth set. A massive win for a player whose development on hard courts is becoming impossible to ignore. Francisco Cerundolo returned to form, using one of the best forehands on tour to take out Zhang, who brings serious firepower. And Davidovich Fokina continues to become a crowd favourite, not just for his tennis, but because he's somehow one of the best players on tour without a title to his name. Fingers crossed he gets over the line this year. And it's not just the men. The women's draw looks stacked already. At the top, the usual contenders look exactly like that. Sabalenka, Swiatek, Rybakina, Anisimova, Goff. All through, all dangerous, all very much here to win. But just like the men, the next wave is already pushing. Mira Andreeva continues to look like a future champion in real time. Composed, fearless, and completely comfortable on big stages. And Mboko quietly looks like a serious problem. Big weapons, confident movement, and no signs of being overwhelmed by the occasion. If she keeps building, her path only gets more interesting. So what does all of this tell us? It tells us this tournament isn't a given for anyone. The courts are quick, the margins are thin, and hesitation is being punished immediately. Sinner looks like he has no interest in 5-set matches. Djokovic looks fresher than people expected, and if that movement holds, he's about a week and a half away from history. Alcaraz had a shaky match against Adam Walton, but that's not unusual early in slams. He still feels like a player who can raise his level match by match and peak at the right time. Medvedev wasn't perfect, but a straight sets win is a straight sets win, and he looks serious. De Minaur's efficiency matters more than style points, especially as the draw starts to open. And across both tours, the message is the same. The young guns aren't on a trial run anymore. They're here to take someone's spot. Round 1 didn't just give us results. It sent us a warning. This Australian Open feels like a changing of the guard, with the greats refusing to relinquish control. Round 2 is make or break for some players, and it's going to set the tone for their entire seasons. Because if this first round is anything to go by, the chaos is only just getting started. What was your favourite match from round 1? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoy these deep dives, consider subscribing.